outside of your family and your football, um, what are you into? What are your passions?
Oh, you know what? I'm a big NBA fan. Uh, I know some people are going to say I'm a bit boring because again it's sport, but I'm a sports guy and I do respect other sports, and the one that I respect the most and admire and I'm a huge fan of is NBA. So yeah, obviously now living in the US, I'm more than happy every time to go at the Madison Square Garden and see some of the games. But yeah, I grew up with Michael Jordan playing basketball, so me loving basketball, growing up with him playing, that was amazing for me to see. As you said, I mean, you asked me to not including my friends, but it is pretty important to have my friends around, my family, spending time with them, going to cinemas, shows, whatever. I know I'm going out of the subject now, but to go back to it, yeah, the NBA, that one of my that's what one sorry of my favorite pastime.
You said that you plan to talk to some of the younger players in training and in the dressing room. What will you try and communicate to them?
Well, I mean, whatever it is, simple stuff. Like I said, there's stuff in the dressing room, that I won't say. Stuff for me, a dressing room, it's very private. So the type of stuff that you say in the dressing room, I will whatever comes across. It's not like I had stuff planned to say. It's like when something happened, like, oh, be careful, that's not how you do it. That's how you do it, or whatever, like the everyday thing that happens in the dressing room.
We asked our Puma fans to send in their questions for Thierry Henry, and a lot of these questions have been fans from readers, and a lot of them have asked, "Have you got any plans to become a coach?"
Well, everybody's asking me this. It does seem like people are thinking that. I mean, I'm obviously closer to the end of my career than the beginning, but I actually didn't think about it. I said it so many times. I'm trying to kind of finish my career in a good way and enjoy the last years. Uh, but for sure, I will be back in the game. How? I actually don't know. But I will be back in the game. Now I can't tell you now if I'm going to be a boss or not a boss or assistant or whatever it is, or maybe not involved. I just don't know. Like I'm saying, assistant or not, but for sure I will be back in the game somehow.
How important are British people to your love for England?
You know, in England, people have a different way of loving the game, and trust me, they are passionate about their club and they will die for their club. But it's pretty different in some of the Latin country because they need to touch you, they need to feel you, they need to give you orders. Like they need to, if you don't win this weekend, be careful. In England, they'll come and support their team, and I always admire that. Even more so when you're in trouble, they'll come and they will never let the team down. They will try to. Well, obviously, you have in some places that they will get mad, if you really don't perform well. But at the end of the day, like if you give your best on the field in England, fans will always, even if you lose the game, they will always like recognize that. For example, we lost some game. My time at Arsenal before my first spell, that you know, you the team that you played way better than you, and the fans saw that. We tried, but the other team was way better than us, and they understand that. That I would say that in England, fans are more, they understand it more. They're more understanding, but they still somehow love the club so much, and I always admire that.
English are pretty proud of their sense of humour as well. Does that terrace humour filter down to the pitch?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. We always, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I have a friend that always like to crack some jokes, and I don't get it sometimes. I guess because it's my French fault. I don't kind of get it. No, I don't actually think too much about that, but I do actually like the way English people are. They kind of love you. They will. It's a if you give it all, they love you, but then they will still let you kind of live your life in a way.
What about music? What's on your iPod at the moment?
A bit of everything. A bit of everything, especially it's old type of songs. I'm very 80s, the 90s, but like can go back to the 60s, 70s, hip hop, pop, rock and roll, reggae, R&B, jazz, whatever. I'm not going to name the whole type of music that you can have there. Obviously, music from the West Indies. It's called zouk. That's what I listen the most. French songs, whatever. But most of the time, you will find stuff that you will go on from my iPod and you will go like, wow, I forgot about that song. I'm not too much into what people are doing right now. Uh, sounds like my parents when they used to tell you that's not music what you're listening. But it's true. I'm old school.
Are you a fan of live music at all?
Well, being in New York now, yeah, sometimes you can go to some places that you have a band playing in the background. That's kind of cool. But live music, the band has to be amazing because that's music right there. So there's no like computer, no nothing. So I can be very critical when it comes to that. So I didn't see a lot of concerts, sorry, in my life because some of the guys that I do listen and that I love, for example, on the CD to listen to them, don't sound too great live. The last actually show that I've seen, concert that I've seen, that was how amazing was Elton John in the Madison Square Garden, and that's now music. Even though I like sometimes also a bit of you know computer music to have fun and everything. But Elton John playing in the Madison Square Garden on his piano right there, singing, that was music, and that's actually enjoyable live.
You musical at all? Like I'd sing in the shower?
It doesn't, I can only disturb myself in the shower, and usually you always think that you sound great. So, well, I make sure that no one is around, and then I'll try to sing, but I'm not that great.
Um, Outside of the game, when you get to relax, you recently holidayed in Mexico. Where have you spent some of your most memorable holidays? And are there any places you still dream of visiting?
I mean, yeah, obviously I would love to, but it's kind of weird you asking me that now because I will not need. I've been in a lot of places without seeing them, obviously because of the game. You go to places and you stay at the hotel, you play, you go back home. Uh, but asking me now would have I would need a bit of more time to think about the places that I want to go. But it's not so much about the place you're going to have fun or to enjoy your time. Even though, don't get me wrong, I'm trying to go to nice places in in the meantime. Why not? But it's more who you're going with that will make your holiday. I'll always say that at the end of the day. You can be in an amazing place with the wrong people and you won't enjoy it. You can be in what people think maybe not in such a great place at the beginning of, at the, you think at the beginning of your holiday, you're like, well, that doesn't look too great. And then because you're surrounded by great people around you, you make it a great holiday. So yeah, I would say that most important thing is to have great people around you when you go on holiday.